mind is at peace, the body becomes healthy. The Buddha. Have you ever wondered why some aches and pains just won't go away? Could it be that your body is trying to tell you something deeper? What if physical pain is more than just a symptom of aging or illness? What if it's a message from your soul, urging you to pay attention? Hello, and welcome back to Son.Mindfulness. I'm so glad you're here with us today. In this video, we're diving into something truly important, something that affects all of us as we age. We're going to explore how your body and mind are connected in ways you might not have imagined. Too often, we ignore the signals our bodies send us, assuming they're just part of getting older. But what if those signals, whether it's back pain, headaches, or constant fatigue, are not just random? What if they're a reflection of something deeper, something unresolved from our emotional or spiritual past? At Son.Mindfulness, we believe in the power of mindfulness to help us heal, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. Our bodies carry the imprints of our past actions, thoughts, and feelings. And understanding these imprints can lead to real healing, helping us live a more balanced and fulfilling life. This video will help you uncover the spiritual meaning of your pain and how that understanding can lead to true transformation. By the end of this video, you'll have a new perspective on your body and the tools to start healing inside and out. So stay with us until the end, because what you're about to learn might just change the way you view your health and well-being. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to Son.Mindfulness if you haven't already. By subscribing, you'll be joining a community dedicated to mindfulness, healing, and personal growth. We are here to support each other, and I'm so grateful to have you as part of this journey. Take a moment to reflect. How is your body speaking to you today? Is there a pain or discomfort that's been lingering? Let's explore that together and find the deeper meaning behind it. Part 2. The body as a messenger of karma. 1. Introduction to karma in Buddhism. Have you ever wondered why some challenges seem to follow us throughout life? Karma, in the Buddhist tradition, explains this phenomenon. It's the law of cause and effect. Everything we do, our actions, words, and thoughts, creates an imprint on our lives. This imprint shapes our spiritual and physical well-being, but karma isn't a punishment, it's a natural result of the choices we make. When we speak in anger, when we hold on to guilt, it leaves marks, even in our body. Karma isn't just about what happens to us, but what we carry inside. Do you feel the weight of past decisions? Do you notice how your body sometimes reflects emotional wounds, even if the mind tries to forget them? Karma teaches us to be aware of this because each moment of clarity or confusion leaves a mark. 2. The body as a mirror. Now, think about this. What if your body is not just a physical shell? What if it's a mirror, reflecting the state of your mind and spirit? Buddhist teachings say the body is not a mere machine made only of bones and muscles. It's a sacred temple. What does that mean for us? The body holds the stories of our lives. Past choices, emotional baggage, and unresolved experiences. These show up on our skin, in our joints, even in our posture. The body speaks, sometimes more clearly than words. Do you ever notice that certain parts of your body hurt more when you're carrying unprocessed emotions? Could it be that your chronic back pain or constant fatigue is telling you something deeper? Consider the story of Carter, a 74-year-old man from Ohio. Carter had been to doctors many times. His back pain was persistent, gnawing at him like an old friend. He had all the tests. Nothing physical showed up. The doctor said it must be part of aging. But Carter didn't buy that explanation anymore. He began to realize something. The pain wasn't just physical. It seemed to emerge most strongly when the house was still, late at night. As he sat alone in the quiet, memories began to surface. Old photographs on the mantel seemed to whisper stories he had long tried to forget. The familiar ache in his back, though not unbearable, felt like something unfinished, something unresolved. Was it just the wear of time, or was it his body carrying the weight of past regrets? He remembered the times he had raised his voice too often, the moments when pride took precedence over closeness. He thought of the grief he buried instead of confronting it. Could this pain be connected to those old choices? Could it be a reflection of the karma he carried, unresolved and waiting to be acknowledged? The Buddha taught us that the body is a reflection of our spiritual state. But how often do we view our bodies as separate from our mind? What if we learn to see our bodies as a map of our past actions, emotions, and choices? What if, instead of viewing pain as something to simply fix, we looked at it as something to understand? What might we discover about ourselves in the process? Could your body be telling you something about the choices you made long ago? Is there pain in your body that is urging you to listen, to reflect, to heal? As we delve deeper into this, let's explore how different parts of the body hold specific messages. What does your pain tell you? What if each part of your body is a doorway to understanding your karma more clearly? Let's look more closely at how the head, the heart, and other parts of the body speak to us, and what they might be trying to say. Part 3. Understanding the language of the body. 1. Mind-body connection. Have you ever wondered why your body reacts to emotions in such tangible ways? Isn't it curious how what we feel inside often shows up on the outside? The body is far more than just a physical machine. It is deeply connected to our mind, spirit, and emotions. Every emotion, every thought leaves an imprint. And those imprints, whether we're aware of them or not, eventually show up in our body. Think about this. Have you ever felt a tightness in your chest during a stressful moment? Or maybe a pain in your back when you're feeling overwhelmed by responsibility? This is not a coincidence. The body records what the mind cannot always process. What you can't release emotionally, your body will hold on to for you. What happens when the mind can't find peace? It sends those emotions into the body, where they manifest as physical discomfort. Can you think of a time when your body gave you a clear signal, urging you to pay attention to something within? 2. The body speaks. What if your body isn't just something to fix when it breaks down? What if instead your body is a guide, urging you to look deeper at your emotions? Pain, fatigue, or discomfort, these are not just random occurrences. They are signals that invite us to reflect, to pause, and to listen. When you experience chronic pain, fatigue, or other discomforts, have you ever wondered, what is my body trying to tell me? What emotion or experience am I holding on to that I haven't processed? Your body speaks, but do you listen? Often we dismiss these physical signs as just a part of aging or stress. But Buddhist wisdom teaches us that these physical manifestations are not random. They are reflections of what remains unresolved within us. What if your discomfort is asking you to look inward to heal not just the body, but the mind and spirit as well? 3. Example, Margaret's story. Take Margaret, for example. Margaret is a retired school teacher in her 70s, known for her warm smile and gentle nature. But for years she had been living with persistent headaches. These weren't the kind of headaches that came from tension or sinus issues. Her doctors couldn't find a clear cause. The scans were normal, the blood tests were fine. So Margaret continued her life, assuming it was just a part of getting older. But the pain didn't go away. It was constant, lingering like a shadow, especially in the afternoons. At first, Margaret attributed the pain to fatigue. But over time, she began to realize that her headaches weren't just physical. They were connected to something deeper. She had been carrying unresolved regrets, conversations she never had, apologies she never gave. She spent her life doing what was expected of her, putting her needs last. She had neglected herself emotionally. In Buddhist teachings, the mind and body are inseparable. Margaret's physical pain was a manifestation of emotional neglect. Her body was asking her to listen to the parts of herself she had long ignored. Can you relate to Margaret's experience? Have you ever experienced physical discomfort that you now see was tied to unresolved emotions? How often do we overlook the mind-body connection, thinking that pain is only a result of physical causes? 4. Buddhist wisdom. In the teachings of the Buddha, healing is not just about addressing physical symptoms. Healing begins when we align our body, mind, and spirit. The Buddha taught that true healing requires more than medicine or treatment. It requires awareness of the mind, emotions, and their connection to the body. When we listen to the body with compassion, without judgment, we can start to heal. The Buddha encouraged mindfulness, not just in our thoughts, but in our bodies as well. What if, instead of ignoring or dismissing our pain, we paid attention to it? What if we saw our discomfort as an invitation to explore deeper truths about ourselves? In Buddhist practice, we are taught to be present with our feelings, not run away from them. When we sit with our emotions, without resistance, we can begin to release them. This is where healing begins, not just in the body, but in the mind and spirit. Have you ever tried to listen to your body with this kind of awareness? What might you discover if you approached your discomfort with curiosity rather than fear? As we delve deeper into understanding the body's messages, it's important to look at specific areas of the body and the emotions they may carry. Each part of the body, according to Buddhist teachings, has its own spiritual significance. The head, heart, stomach, and spine, they all have their own stories to tell. Let's now explore the spiritual meaning behind different parts of the body. What is your body trying to tell you? What if the answers lie within your body's whispers? Let's uncover the deeper wisdom behind the language of the body. Part 4. The spiritual significance of different body parts. 1. The head. When thought becomes a cage. Have you ever noticed how a cluttered mind can affect your body? The head is where our thoughts reside. It represents our intellect, our ego, and our mental space. But when our thoughts are trapped in cycles of stress, guilt, or regret, they can create fog, confusion, and headaches. Is your mind sometimes like a cage, trapping you in endless loops of worry? What happens when we don't process or let go of those thoughts? Think about Margaret. She was a retired school teacher, admired by many for her sharp mind. But as she grew older, she began to experience mental fog. She couldn't remember simple things like where she put her glasses. She attributed it to aging at first. But over time, Margaret realized that her mental fog wasn't just physical. It was connected to years of suppressed thoughts, regrets, unspoken feelings, unresolved past issues. Her head was carrying the burden of all the things she never addressed. The Buddha taught that the mind can either be our greatest tool or our biggest cage. When we cling to unresolved emotions, our mind becomes heavy. Have you ever felt that mental heaviness? How might your thoughts be influencing your physical well-being? 2. The throat. The karma of unspoken truth. What if your throat is not just for speech, but a reflection of your truth? The throat is where our words and silence meet. When we suppress our truth, we feel the weight in our throat. A tightness, a lump, a sensation that something needs to be expressed but cannot. What truths have you left unsaid? Eleanor, a 71-year-old widow from Oregon, knew this feeling well. Throughout her life, Eleanor was the peacemaker. She always chose silence over confrontation, even when she disagreed with her husband. But after his passing, something inside her broke. Her throat would tighten, and she began losing her voice. At first, doctors thought it was a simple condition. But as Eleanor reflected on her life, she realized the pain in her throat was tied to the silence she had kept for so long. It wasn't just about physical discomfort, it was about a lifetime of swallowing her truth. In Buddhist thought, the throat represents expression and clarity. When we hold back, the energy gets stuck. What happens when we refuse to speak our truth? How does it show up in our bodies? Have you ever experienced discomfort in your throat after a difficult conversation? 3. The heart. Grief that lives in the chest. Have you ever felt a heaviness in your chest, even though there was no physical cause? The heart is the seat of compassion, love, and grief. When we hold on to unresolved grief, It settles in our chest, manifesting as tightness, palpitations, or even pain. Grief isn't just an emotional response, it becomes a physical burden. Frank, an 82-year-old war veteran, had always prided himself on his strength. He was tough. No one would ever guess that beneath his strong exterior lay a heart full of unspoken grief. After his wife's passing, he couldn't shake the weight in his chest. He would wake up in the middle of the night, his heart feeling tight as though something was pressing from the inside. Doctors found no physical cause for the discomfort, but Frank knew better. The unresolved grief from his wife's final days, the words left unsaid, the love unexpressed, they all lived in his heart. The Buddha taught that we must face our grief rather than avoid it. Grief is natural, but when suppressed, it can become a spiritual wound. What unresolved emotions might be weighing on your heart? What might your chest be trying to tell you about grief you haven't yet faced? Number 4, the stomach. Digesting more than food. Have you ever felt discomfort in your stomach after a stressful event? The stomach is where we process life, not just food, but emotions as well. When we are unable to digest our experiences, our body reacts with digestive issues, bloating, acid reflux, or cramps. Susan, a 66-year-old grandmother from Wisconsin, could never quite get comfortable after eating. No matter how healthy her diet was, her stomach always felt off. She couldn't understand why until she realized her digestive issues weren't just physical, they were emotional. Susan had spent years putting everyone else's needs above her own. She had unresolved tensions from years of caregiving for her late husband and the grief of losing him. The Buddha often spoke about how we need to digest life's experiences, not just physically, but emotionally. When we carry emotional burdens without processing them, the body holds on to that stress. How might your stomach be reflecting your emotional digestion? Are there unresolved issues or feelings that your body is trying to digest for you? 5. The liver, fire that burns from within. Have you ever felt an internal fire, something that burns and churns inside you? The liver is often associated with anger, frustration, and suppressed emotions. When we hold on to anger, it manifests in the liver, creating inflammation or discomfort. Raymond, a 70-year-old retired mechanic, had always been quick-tempered. He never saw himself as angry, just someone who spoke his mind. But deep down, Raymond had been carrying a lifetime of unresolved anger. Anger towards his father, his ex-wife, and friends he had lost. In his later years, he began experiencing severe liver issues. His doctors couldn't find any obvious cause, but Raymond knew it wasn't just physical. His anger had never been processed, and now it was burning him from the inside. The Buddha taught us that holding on to anger is like holding a hot coal. You want to throw it, but it burns you first. Are there any unresolved grudges or anger in your life? What might your liver be trying to tell you about emotional fire? 6. The kidneys. Fear and the unknown. What happens when fear quietly settles in your body? The kidneys represent fear, survival, and the unknown. When we carry fear, especially fear of the future or the unknown, it shows up in our kidneys. Linda, a 74-year-old widow, knew this kind of fear well. She had lost her husband unexpectedly, and now, years later, she faced life alone. Every night she would lie awake, her heart racing with fear, not panic, but a deep, relentless anxiety about what might come next. Her doctors noticed that her kidney function was slightly off, causing fatigue and discomfort. But Linda knew that the real cause of her issues wasn't just physical, it was fear. The Buddha taught that fear is a natural part of life, but we must learn not to cling to it. When we learn to face fear with mindfulness, it loses its grip on us. Do you feel any deep-seated fears about the future? What might your kidneys be telling you about the fears you have yet to face? 7. The spine, the weight we don't need to carry. Have you ever felt like your back was carrying more than just your body's weight? The spine is more than a physical structure. It represents our support and alignment with life's purpose. When we face difficulties or take on too many responsibilities, we may feel it in our back. Back pain can indicate that we are carrying emotional or spiritual burdens that are not ours to carry. Walter, a 76-year-old retired caregiver, lived his life taking care of others. For years, he carried the weight of his mother, his wife, and eventually his grandchildren. He was the strong one, the dependable one. But by the time Walter reached his 70s, his back started to fold inward. Every day, he walked slower, sat gingerly, and took longer to stand upright. His doctors attributed it to spinal degeneration. But Walter knew it was more than that. His back pain was a physical manifestation of emotional exhaustion and a lifetime of unacknowledged responsibilities. The Buddha taught us that we must learn to release what does not belong to us. Have you ever felt that your body is carrying burdens that are not yours? What might your spine be trying to tell you about the weight you've been carrying for too long? 8. The legs and feet. Fear of moving forward. What happens when your legs feel heavy, reluctant to move? Our legs represent our ability to move forward in life, to progress, and to take steps toward our future. When our legs become weak or we hesitate to walk, it can indicate fear of change or unresolved regrets. Charles, a 78-year-old man, used to be a long-distance walker. Walking wasn't just exercise. It was how he processed his grief and moved through life's challenges. But after his wife passed away, Charles noticed something strange. His legs began to feel heavier with each step. What was once a peaceful activity now felt like a burden. At first, he chalked it up to arthritis, but as time passed, he realized that his reluctance to walk was tied to something deeper. He had unresolved regrets about past conversations with his children. Unspoken words and missed opportunities held him back. In Buddhist teachings, walking represents our journey through life. When we hesitate to move forward, it often reflects unresolved emotional issues. Have you ever felt like something was holding you back from moving forward? What might your legs be telling you about the fears or regrets you are carrying? 9. The skin. When shame shows up outside. Have you ever experienced skin issues that seem to appear out of nowhere? The skin is the boundary between our inner world and the outside world. It's where we show ourselves to others, but it's also where our hidden emotions often surface. When we suppress feelings of shame or emotional pain, they can manifest as skin problems. Joanne, a 72-year-old woman, had never struggled with skin issues in her youth. But in recent years, eczema became a constant companion. She tried ointments, changed her diet, but nothing seemed to help. Her skin would flare up after difficult family gatherings or when memories of past mistakes crept back into her mind. Joanne realized that her skin was reflecting the emotional wounds she had long suppressed. In Buddhist thought, the skin represents our sense of self, our boundaries, and our emotional state. When we carry unresolved shame, it can appear on our skin as a physical manifestation of our inner pain. What hidden emotions might your skin be trying to reveal? Are there parts of yourself you've been hiding, hoping no one would see? The eyes, seeing through illusion. Have you ever noticed that your vision isn't just about what you see? Our eyes represent our perception, not just of the world, but of ourselves. When we struggle with vision problems, it can indicate a distorted view of life or a limited perspective. Helen, an 81-year-old woman, had always enjoyed clear vision, but in recent years, her sight began to decline. Reading became more difficult, and faces blurred when viewed from a distance. Helen joked that the world had gotten fuzzier, but there was something deeper going on. Helen had been clinging to a narrative that her choices had been right, that her silence had protected her family. But as her vision blurred, she realized her perception of life had narrowed. She had been avoiding the truth, clinging to old beliefs and old stories. In Buddhist teachings, eyes represent clarity of perception. When our eyes grow weary, it's often a sign that we need to adjust our perspective. What might your eyes be trying to show you about how you see the world? Are there illusions or beliefs you've been holding on to that prevent you from seeing clearly? As we explore these different body parts, we begin to see how they are not just physical structures. They are spiritual signposts, pointing us toward deeper truths about ourselves. The body is a mirror that reflects our emotional and spiritual state. Now that we understand how the body speaks, it's time to look at how we can heal. What if healing doesn't just happen in a doctor's office, but in the space between body and mind? Let's delve deeper into the healing process and discover how we can align our body, mind, and spirit for true well-being. Part 5. The healing process. 1. Healing the body and mind. Have you ever felt that something deeper is at work when you are healing? Healing is never just about treating physical symptoms. It's about addressing the mind and spirit. When we experience pain, whether physical or emotional, we often think it's just a problem to fix. But what if the body's pain isn't random? What if it's a message, an invitation to heal? The Buddha taught us that healing isn't a one-time event. It's a process that involves emotional release and spiritual growth. Why do we feel pain in our bodies when we've been carrying emotional burdens? Why does unresolved grief, anger, or fear show up in the form of back pain or headaches? The body, in its wisdom, speaks to us. It doesn't just ask for medical intervention. It asks for healing of the heart and mind. Have you ever noticed that when your mind is at peace, your body feels lighter too? Could it be that true healing begins when we align our physical health with emotional and spiritual well-being? 2. Practical Buddhist practices. So how can we begin this journey of healing? Buddhism offers simple yet powerful practices that restore balance to our lives. One of the most transformative practices is meditation. Meditation allows us to quiet the mind and listen to the messages of the body. It's a practice that invites stillness, helping us connect with our inner wisdom. Through meditation, we can start to unravel the knots of emotional pain and find clarity. Another powerful practice is mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches us to be present with our bodies, without judgment. Instead of rushing through life, mindfulness asks us to slow down and notice what's happening within. When we are mindful, we start to understand the root causes of our physical discomfort. We begin to see that it's not just about what's happening to our bodies. It's about how our minds are processing the world around us. Have you ever tried mindfulness in moments of pain or stress? What would happen if you took a moment to simply breathe and be present with your discomfort? 3. Example: Eleanor's healing journey. Let's look at Eleanor's journey. Eleanor, a 71-year-old widow, had spent much of her life suppressing her emotions. She was a quiet soul, often choosing peace over confrontation. But as she grew older, she realized something was missing: her voice. Her physical health began to deteriorate, with frequent throat discomfort. Doctors told her it was nothing serious, but Eleanor knew better. Her body was speaking to her. Eleanor's turning point came when she started practicing meditation. At first, it was difficult to sit still, to quiet the racing thoughts. But as she persisted, something shifted. She began to connect with herself in a way she never had before. During her meditation, Eleanor found the courage to confront the feelings she had long suppressed. She realized that her throat discomfort wasn't just physical, it was emotional. She had buried her truth for so long that it had manifested in her body. Through meditation and reflection, Eleanor learned to express her truth. What if we all took time to sit in stillness and listen to the parts of ourselves that need to be heard? Would we be able to heal the emotional wounds that our bodies carry? 4. The role of compassion. Compassion is at the heart of the healing process. But it's not just about compassion for others, it's about self-compassion. So often, we are hard on ourselves. We push through pain, ignore our needs, and judge ourselves harshly. But the Buddha taught that true healing begins with kindness, especially toward ourselves. When we treat ourselves with understanding, we begin to unravel the layers of accumulated pain. Self-compassion means accepting ourselves as we are, without judgment. It means acknowledging our pain without trying to fix it immediately. When we give ourselves permission to feel, to be imperfect, healing can begin. What would it be like to treat yourself with the same compassion that you show others? Have you ever paused to show kindness to yourself when you're hurting, physically or emotionally? As we reflect on the importance of compassion and mindfulness, we realize that healing isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about embracing our whole selves. True healing involves understanding our bodies, listening to our emotions, and approaching life with kindness and patience. As we bring our focus back to the connection between mind and body, let's now move toward a conclusion. What does it mean to heal fully? What does true healing look like when we embrace all parts of ourselves? Body, mind, and spirit. Conclusion. As we come to the end of this journey, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. Your body is not broken. It is speaking to you, offering wisdom, and inviting you to listen. Too often, we dismiss our physical discomforts as mere aging or random occurrences. But what if these pains are not just signs of wear and tear? What if they are messages from the soul? Messages that urge us to look deeper and heal not only the body, but the mind and spirit as well. Have you ever paused to ask yourself what your body might be trying to tell you? What emotions or unresolved experiences might be influencing your physical state? Remember, healing is not a quick fix. It is a journey, one that requires patience, compassion, and awareness. You may be 60, 70, or 80, but it is never too late to begin. The process of healing is a lifelong commitment. By listening to your body with kindness and understanding, you can start to unravel the knots of emotional pain. And as you do, you'll find that the body, mind, and spirit align, bringing about profound peace and well-being. I want to express my deepest gratitude to you for taking the time to explore this journey with me. You've taken the first step toward greater awareness and healing, and for that, I commend you. Now I invite you to reflect on your own body and its messages. What can you begin to listen to more deeply? How can you treat your body with the compassion and respect it deserves? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Let's continue this conversation, supporting each other on this path toward healing. If you found this video helpful, I encourage you to subscribe to the Son.Mindfulness channel. By doing so, you'll stay connected to more insights, tips, and practices that promote mindfulness and well-being. May you always be healthy, at peace, and filled with happiness. I wish you strength, healing, and good fortune on your journey. Thank you once again for being part of this community. Until next time, walk gently, breathe deeply, and embrace the wisdom that your body is offering you. Thank you.